and welcome to the first episode of the Locally Grown podcast. My name's Jess, and tonight we're going to be joined by two very special guests. First up, we've got Saskia from Brisbane indie pop band Dad's Fastest Swimmers, and also Gabrielle, the singer-songwriter behind the letter Elle. Welcome to you both. We firstly wanted to just congratulate you guys on both of your latest singles.
Thank you.
So first up, Saskia, can you give us a bit of insight and reasoning into how you guys came up with the name Dad's Fastest Swimmers? Like, who is the fastest swimmer? Tell us.
I'm the fastest swimmer for sure. In real life, definitely. But the whole thing is that we can't swim.
None of you?
No, that's the whole joke about the whole thing. And obviously, this situation about we're all Dad's Fastest Swimmers because
none of you are fast.
No.
So your latest single, Mixed Messages, can you give us a bit of insight into the creative process behind that, or how the recording process or anything?
Yeah, we recorded it in, maybe 6 hours, I think, one day. I didn't write it, one of the other guys in the band, Lucky, wrote it. It's definitely about how in this day and age, just everyone's always on their phone and swiping left and right. How uncomfortable it can be and how, it just kind of shuts you off from the rest of the world a lot of the time, and you're always getting mixed messages consistently.
Yeah.
He was out on a date with someone and they were literally sitting there on Tinder, swiping for the next day. Yeah.
I've had friends who that's happened to.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
I've been in a relationship for a while, so I have never done Tinder.
Yeah.
But my roommate and just so many of my housemates have been on dates and sitting next to them cuddling, and they've seen them get Tinder messages.
Crazy.
I'm what?
Yeah.
How do you not have shame in doing that?
Surely just turn off notifications, just an hour.
Please.
Yeah.
Surely it's
in regards to the recording of it, it was super fun. It was kind of, we wanted to get in and get it done quite quickly because Lucky, who's kind of the main person who writes most of our songs and is kind of the lead, I guess you would say, in the band. He has been overseas for since January, so we kind of wanted to get it done and get it out.
Had a deadline.
Yeah, it's difficult because there is so many of us, and it was kind of wow, this one day, we can all be there at the same time, and it was a guitar player's birthday, and we were kind of alright, well,
happy birthday, let's get to work.
Yeah, let's do this. Yeah,
you got it done. It sounds great. So
7 people in the recording studio was definitely
a task.
Yeah,
yeah.
Warm.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, you also have your music video for Mixed Messages on Facebook. Bit of the swiping action on there.
Yeah.
So love it.
Yeah.
What was the filming process for that? And also who came up with the concept for it? And
so a few of the guys in the band, because I am now the only girl left in the band.
The ratio.
Yeah, it's
6 to 1. That's heavy.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah. My band is all guys, my backing band. So
yeah. Well, there was 3 of us at the start, and now I guess we have. No, there is 2. There's another girl. I'm so bad with math. Yeah, there's 2 now. There's 3. There's now 2 of us, and the other 5 are boys. So it's still the ratio as well. But yeah, the concept was, I think, mainly some of the guys in the band, and the whole swiping action was an important part of the overall concept of the song and the film clip. And we bought a secondhand mattress and cut holes in it.
I was wondering how you did it.
Oh, it was the longest day. And because it was, there's paint throwing, we had 1 take for each person.
Yeah.
So we had sheets, different sets of sheets to change them out. We had to cut holes in them, and then we all stuck our hands through the back of the mattress. It was a real effort, the entire thing. And I think a lot of the inspiration was taken from OK Go. And they did all the kind of homemade very homemade videos, but they turned out really cool.
Yeah.
And I think that's definitely what we were going for difficult because we had to keep everyone in this like exact shot the entire time, so we all had to like be very rigid. And
the synchronization was really good in it.
Yeah, it was. You can see in the video like I could not keep my shit together. Just like
I did see like a lot of you like cracking up.
Yeah, because what happened was we went to do my take and we would do like a dry take before, so we would just like put our hands through and pretend that we were throwing the paint to make sure everyone was like comfortable with the motions and that kind of stuff. And then one of the other girls in the band thought that they said, one of the girls said paint, as in like now we would paint, and so she grabbed the paintbrush and started painting me when no one else was. So I just had this like one streak like in my hair, and I was like, oh my god,
keep it together.
So, like by the end of it, when we actually did the whole paint take with all of us, I was just like so done.
So we understand that you guys have an EP that you're working on at the moment that's coming out later this year.
Yes.
Are you still recording that at the moment, or have you like in the mastering, mixing kind of
We're still in the demo phase. Sending demos in to try and get it all sorted.
Yeah.
Because again, with 7 people, it's definitely a lot of work to try and get us all in the same place at the same time. So even just getting demos together, like I sit at home and do voice recordings into my phone and then send them, and then we put it all together. And with one of us being overseas, like other people are interstate because everyone, we all have our own day jobs and that kind of stuff. It is difficult to get us all in the same place.
It will be.
But yeah, we're super excited. It's going to be at the Old Museum, which is the most beautiful venue. It's so nice.
Yeah.
So we're really excited and lucky to play there.
Expected to come out like this end of this year? Or
So I think around September is going to be the EP launch. So definitely this year.
Yeah.
But
exciting.
A mission.
Yeah, it will be.
Yeah.
Alrighty. So Gabrielle, so your new single Through the Night, you did a bit of like a photo series on Instagram before releasing that. What was kind of the idea behind that?
I think because I've kind of taken on more, like I've been very hands-on with this whole release. Like I've always been quite hands-on with my music, but I've kind of been there from like day one of the production. Like I wrote it all through, but while producing it, and then I was like, and I just kind of, there were so many parts of it where I was like making my merch, and there was when I was sending it off to be mixed and like hearing it back and all that sort of thing, and the whole process. And I thought it would be kind of cool to show that whole thing, and like even like setting up on the night, having my supports there, like it kind of shows how much actually goes into one single song release, and that still is not the half of it. But I just thought it would be kind of like a cool little
interesting to see the behind the scenes. You mentioned your merch line, so you've got like an environmentally friendly kind of merch line. What's like the go with that? Like how do you think of that? How does it all work?
So basically it's still kind of like developing. Like I had this really great massive idea, and I was like, okay, calm down. Just chill out. There's only so much you can do. You've got like 2 months to your release. And then, so basically I've always been, like, I'm really not into fast fashion. I always shop secondhand unless, because I like underwear and stuff. But I always try to, like, get things that are more environmentally friendly and, not you do as much of the fast fashion sort of thing. And I thought, I was like, really wanted to get merch made, but I was like, how can I do this? Like, that would just feel so wrong to me to just then produce 50 new shirts that, like, I wouldn't want to buy because I don't really like buying new stuff. Exactly. So I was like, that just doesn't work with me. So I was like trying to basically think of a way where I can do a more environmentally friendly and like kind of responsible merch line. And so I literally emailed so many places, and no one really wanted to screen print onto secondhand shirts. And like I was trying to think of different ways that I could do it. And so what I ended up coming up with was I just did everything myself. So I bought a screen printing kit and like all the fabric dyes and everything, and like made a stencil and did it all myself. And then I like printed it all, ironed it all, and I also got iron-on patches made. So the other option, so I've got like the t-shirts that I've screen printed and like made and that sort of thing. And then I've also got iron-on patches so that people can kind of get more wear out of shirts that maybe they otherwise would probably just throw out.
Yeah.
So it's like, you've just got a plain shirt, you don't really know what to do with it. Kind
Make
of
it a bit fun.
give it a second life sort
Yeah.
of thing. Yeah, so I have more designs coming because it was kind of like a bit of a test run the first time. But yeah, I've got a really awesome new design and it's so pretty and I'm so excited for it. And so I'm getting that made really soon. But I'm just finishing sourcing all the garments and getting them all together.
Awesome, I love that. So do you like go online like vintage websites or do you just go like op shopping like yourself?
Bit of both. So I kind of like have gone around to a few of the like local op shops that I know and I've kind of like told them about it, and then so they're really helpful with kind of helping me find things that work, because you also have to be careful that you get like things that don't have any brands or anything on it, because copyright, whole other issue. But yeah, so basically I've been sourcing it from op shops because then it's like there's just so many wins, because it's like secondhand, so you're recycling, it's also going towards a charity, like just a whole great circle of good things happening. So yeah, that kind of makes me feel the best when I'm getting it from op shops. Yeah.
So back to your new single, it's got more of a like electronic, you would probably say, feel to it than your previous work. So
Definitely.
Is that a new direction you're going to be staying in, or what was the kind of thought behind the new?
Yeah, so basically I started studying production 2 years ago now, and we just had an assignment where we had to use Ableton Live software, and I had no idea what to do, and I was like so not keen for it. I was like, I do not know what to do with this, and then I just made a beat and then did little synths that you hear at the start, and then just went into one of the random studios here and with a Zoom kit and just like recorded an entire song and all the backing vocals. And all the backing vocals in the song are actually what I did in that room.
Really?
In like 10 minutes.
Oh,
Yeah. So, it worked out well. Sounded better than I expected it to. And so I kind of just went with that. So I really liked it. And then I collaborated with another producer to get the end result, because I'm still kind of, finding my craft. But I also like to get another pair of ears on anyway. So I kind of just really, I felt that it would be something that still is quite me, but it's, I don't know, a whole other genre that I can kind of explore. It's a whole other market with still being like relatively authentic to my sound. And I've just been writing so much more with that lately. And I really enjoy writing with software and playing with new electronics live and that sort of thing.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Is there any other like similar musicians to you that have influenced your kind of new direction, or?
Yeah, so when I first, like, this was literally 2 years ago when I started writing it for them. When I first started, kind of the influences were a bit of Meg Mac, like her way older stuff, like her covers, like of Grandma's Hands and that sort of thing. And then, and then a little bit of Billie Eilish, like with some of the, I love how creative her production is. It's just amazing.
Her new album.
Yeah, it's just so good. And and then I also really love Sahara Beck, who actually lives in Brisbane, and she's from Sunshine Coast like me.
I went to school with her.
I went to school with her brother.
It's such a small world, it's scary.
But so she's kind of taken, actually, like, it was kind of way after I wrote it, but she's taken a bit more of a slightly more electronic-y vibe in her new stuff. Like, she's got more distortion on her vocals, and I was like, oh, cool. Works out well. I've always used her as, like, an influence, and I'm like, oh, how good.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Alright, so I might do some more questions for both of you now. So we'll talk about, sort of recent, like, the couple, like, assaults and kind of like almost the rape culture in like the music scene at the moment. There was a lot of stuff about a couple local artists last week that were assaulted during performances. Alex Astronaut, Kira Peru, and Marie from Wax, just in the one weekend during their shows. Have you guys ever experienced that kind of culture within the music scene, or do you have any perspectives or opinion on that?
I haven't personally experienced it, but I've definitely seen it happen. People just throwing shit at the stage, like, it's never okay. People, especially with girls, if you're wearing a skirt, them getting up in your grill and looking up your skirt, like, just being inappropriate. Like, you wouldn't do that to someone on the street. Why do you feel that you're entitled to do that to them now? Like, this is our job don't like you're not entitled to us in any way, shape, or form just because you may have paid to be there to watch someone. That doesn't mean you get to touch them. That doesn't mean you get to, use them however you like.
I think a hard thing with the industry is for so long, like we're kind of starting to see a bit of a turn with females in the music industry, but for so long, and like still so much in popular music culture, like females are so overly sexualized, and people see female musicians as a sexual thing so often.
Yeah, when like an object.
And so I think sometimes, especially when people are drinking and that sort of thing, it kind of can translate into that thing. Whereas a lot of like more recent artists are kind of taking more of a, I don't know, they're not using their body to sell their music.
Yeah.
They're like, there's more just talented females just being talented and that's it. And they're just like, they're not trying to, use that sexualization to sell themselves, but it still seems to be, I feel like the culture is starting to change, but maybe not as quickly as we need it to.
Yeah.
It's this like super bizarre thing where for so long, like especially in the 90s, people that we would have grown up with, like Britney Spears and, those kind of ladies who all were so overly like sexualized at such a young age.
Yeah.
It's not that anymore. Like the people that I looked up to and I look up to, like they're doing their own thing. They're not trying to be sexy women all the time. And like do that. If that's what you want to do, that's all power to you.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing
No
wrong
hate, no
with
shame.
it. Yeah, like I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's definitely like such a different time and we're our own people and we're just as much of artists as any dudes that are around.
Yeah.
And I think there's such a problem in just like generally in any kind of workforce of men feeling like
it is such a male-dominated industry as well, which I found surprising because I feel like when you're in high school, it's like, oh, all the girls play music. Like, that's the thing. And then you get out of high school, it's like, where did they go?
Like, hold on. Everyone stop.
Everyone just became a guy. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, where did they all go? And it just all stopped.
And
but,
I'm like in the jazz scene a lot, which is pretty much just dudes.
Yeah.
And there's this weird, like, everyone thinks that females aren't as valid as a musician as males. I think is this weird, especially in the jazz community. That's what I found.
I find that like being a cover artist as well.
They're like, you're just a cover singer, you sing pop covers in maybe a jazz style. Like that's not, you're not a real musician. Or because you're a singer, you're not a real musician. It's like, it's a whole other art form in its right. Like singing is just as hard as playing the piano or playing the guitar.
I think it's really good in the Brisbane community as well. Like a lot of people are like trying to get female musicians in their band. Like a lot of bands have more of gender equality kind of across it. Whereas like, I don't know, a lot of like bigger cities kind of have seem to have a lot more males.
For sure. Yeah, it's just like we are boy groups and we will sing about boy things. Like, okay, cool, that's great. And I still love your music and, I'm sure you're all great. But, we're here too.
Yeah.
Why not us over there?
Yeah.
Exactly. I think it's starting to change, but there's definitely a long way to go.
Yeah, like it's still definitely getting there. I think it's awesome, especially with like Triple J artists. Like so many of those like girls are just being like great and not they're just seen as more equals like in that whole scene, which is really good.
Yes. Sure.
On a lighter note, do either of you guys have any advice to offer to any like small upcoming musicians, like local artists, like any tips or tricks to kind of getting out there?
Just start playing.
Yeah.
Wherever you can go, wherever you can play, just play. Just whatever gigs you can get, basically.
For sure. Just, get out there. It's harder than you think it's going to be. Like, it's always harder than you think it's going to be. I haven't been super active. I was, when I was younger, I was definitely way more active in the music scene, Brisbane music scene. And now I've kind of taken a step back. But, taking a break is not always a bad thing. If you have to, take a break. It's fine. Just, it is hard work and it's a job in itself. And I think there's such a, misunderstanding that music isn't a real job and it's not a real career, and it's a viable option for anyone. You just have to get yourself out there and market yourself, and it's so important. It sucks that like social media is such a huge thing now. Like in
half your job is actually just social media.
Yeah, it's just posting on Instagram and tweeting
and like scheduling your emails.
Yeah, exactly.
The fun stuff.
Yeah, I literally do probably more admin and like social media, everything else stuff than I actually do playing music.
Exactly.
Like so much more.
Yeah, but
yeah.
I definitely think also know your worth.
Yeah.
Don't, the amount of people who have asked me to play gigs and they're like, you'll get great exposure. And I'm like, maybe, but you don't know. Like, a record label someone like the head of a record label isn't going to just magically be at that restaurant and give me exposure.
Yeah.
Like,
I think you
I
need
can't
to
pay my rent with
know
that.
your worth, but also know when, because I know that some musicians probably, like, I kind of, pick and choose your venues, because I have some, and they're like, look, we're a locally owned business, and they approach me really nicely, and they say, like, this is the best we can do, we really, really want to have you there, and it makes me feel like they're not just like, okay, this is your money, this is what you get. Like,
100%.
They're really nice about it. So, like, I'm happy to support local venues for, like, still a reasonable, not free,
Yes.
but, like, I think know your worth, but also be able to help your community, because the more musicians they get, the more like the audience builds and the better they can pay.
Yeah, like I'll always support local venues as long as my beliefs are in line with
I care more about them just being nice people. I've had so many venues that are awful to their arts.
Oh, for sure. There's been so many gigs that I've played and rock up and they're like, all right, cool. Like, that's it.
Nice.
You're like, okay,
I'm not coming back here.
Let's never do this again.
I had one gig and it was storming, and the wrestling was on. It was a terrible gig, but the wrestling was on, and I turned up and they're like, oh, you can't start yet, the wrestling's on, and I was like,
oh,
well, I'm here.
Yeah, this is
like,
still my time.
And they were like, no, you have to wait 2 hours, and then they didn't help me bring in any of my gear through the storm, so I came in drenched.
Oh no!
Waited for 2 hours to played. They did not clap or say anything to me. Completely ignored me the entire time, and I left, and I never went back.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
See, like that's just don't do that.
It doesn't happen often, but it happens.
Yeah.
Like you look after your musicians as you would your staff. Like where they're doing work, treat us like you would. You know, I mean,
I know.
Maybe be a bit nicer.
Yeah.
if you're rude to your stuff, but like,
exactly.
We put in time that you don't see. Like just because we're there then and that's what you're seeing. The hours of practice, rehearsals, we have to pay for the fuel to get there and get home. Like all the gear. It's so expensive, it doesn't just appear out of thin air.
Yeah, there's a lot of work behind
There is
it.
a lot of work behind everything, but if it's what you love, it's worth it.
Yeah.
It's like all the money I make from gigs just goes back into gear anyway.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a vicious cycle of buying
We'll
things.
never make money because we'll just keep buying
Yeah.
more gear or
That's
making
it.
another song.
Yeah, exactly.
As long as that makes you happy.
Exactly.
Alright, so lastly, we just want to know what you guys are listening to at the moment. Any favourite songs, song of the week, song of the day, anything?
I'm obsessed with the new Billie Eilish album.
Yeah.
I sit at work with my headphones in and I'm like, oh, I'm a bad guy.
I love that when it gets to that point and you're like,
yeah.
And it's so boppy.
yeah. And I was listening to it in the car and I'm like, driving along.
It's so good. It's such a good song to walk to as well. You feel like
Yeah.
powerful lady, and Otherwise, I think for me, Daniel Caesar, I love him. He's amazing. I listen to him
that
all the
voice.
time.
I've recently discovered Dodie, and I've known her for ages, but I hadn't really properly listened to her, and I listened to her, and now I just can't stop.
Yeah.
And so I just listen to all of her songs all the time, and so that's my constant rotation at the moment.
She's so lyrically good.
Yeah, and just the way her vocals are recorded just makes me want to cry every time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So that's kind of where I'm at.
Beautiful. Well, that's all for today. Thank you both
Awesome.
so much for your time
It's all
and
good.
answering all our questions.
No worries.
Thanks for having me.
No worries.